Okay guys, so last lesson we were learning about the definitions, the really important definitions we need to know in our topic of genetics. And if you open up your Google Classroom and open up the Google Slides that we did, you'll see that we have got an example of how to do a genetics problem. First one, using the definitions alone. Okay? And we have a tick box list. If you get the Google Slides up, we've got a tick box list of how we go about solving the problem. So Sam, can you give me, on the last slide that we did, the first point that we need to do in order to solve our problem?
We work out the genotypes of the homozygous, which means same letters, and brown is B, so first person is BB.
Good. So homozygous means both letters are the same. So in our example, we are able to, when it says a homozygous male, I think it was, we are able to know that it must be big B or small b, okay? And then we learned about the fact that if somebody has blue eyes, we know what their genotype must be, Woody. Somebody with blue eyes must have what genotype?
Small b.
Excellent, Woody. I love the confidence with which you've answered that. Shows that you completely understand. Small b is somebody who has got the feature, which we call the phenotype, okay, that can only be there if it's double recessive allele. It's really tricky, isn't it? We've got to learn these words. So the allele is the version of the gene. And so we can see our Punnett square here. We take the genotype, which is big B, and small b's, and then we just separate them out. Can everyone look at me and the board, please? We separate them out, small b and small b on the vertical, big B and big B on the horizontal, doesn't matter which way around. And then we kind of multiply them out, don't we? So small b times big B is small b, big B, but we always put the big B first. That's just the way we do it. Small b times big B is small b, big B, but we put the big B first. So big B, small b. Small b times big B is big B, small b, and then big B, small b again. And we worked out, didn't we, that the chance of a homozygous brown-eyed person, if they have a child with a homozygous recessive, gives you what percentage chance, Artie, of a blue-eyed child? 0. Okay? Now, the thing about this, though, is that if this was, let's say Freddie was homozygous brown eyes, okay? If Freddie did have a relationship and had married, for example, a girl with blue eyes, none of his children would have blue eyes. But the relationship he's had with the girl with blue eyes has put blue eye DNA into his child's DNA, which means that his grandchildren could have blue eyes. So if one of Freddie's children, who are all big B, small b, were to have a relationship with another big B, small b, you can see that we've already done this. You actually got a chance that one of them would have blue eyes. And so Freddie might be bouncing a little grandchild on his knee. Goo gaga, goo goo gaga. Look at Granddad Freddie, and looking into their lovely blue eyes. Artie.
How can you know if someone has 2 big B's?
Right. Really, really good question. And the answer is, looking at them, the reason why it was such a good question from you is you've seen the difficulty. If you look at someone, you can't tell whether they have big B or big B, small b. But in the question, it said a homozygous brown-eyed. So the question told us that they were both the same. Okay?
Okay, how do scientists know that?
Okay, so let me show you how scientists might know, but only if you look at the DNA, you could look at it. But look at this. And I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this opportunity to introduce a disease to you. And it's called cystic fibrosis. Has anyone heard of cystic fibrosis? Okay, so cystic fibrosis is a disease in which your mucus is too thick. Okay, when you have mucus when you've got saliva and mucus in your throat, your body controls that very carefully. What they do is they mix water with a protein called mucin. You don't need to know this. And they get the concentration exactly right. Thick enough so it traps dust, bacteria, okay, but thin enough that it can be moved up your throat by your cilia and then swallowed. If your mucus was too thick, it would be that you weren't able to add the right amount of water. You know when you get an orange cordial and you add orange cordial and then you add water, and sometimes somebody makes it really sickly and you're, oh God, you haven't had enough water there. That's like people with cystic fibrosis. If you don't have enough water, your mucus is really thick. That means it's really hard for you to clear your throat, just like when you've got a cold and you've got really big green thick mucus. Yeah. Cystic fibrosis is a disease where people have their mucus is too thick and they pick up diseases. In fact, it's so thick it can get in the way of the alveoli being able to do gas exchange, so it lowers the surface area of gas exchange. It can lead to infertility because the egg can't go down the fallopian tube well because the mucus is so thick the egg can't move. You can also have digestive issues because the enzymes can't make their way down the pancreatic duct, which has a mucus lining. So people can have malnutrition as well if they've got cystic fibrosis. But one thing to say about cystic fibrosis is that it is a recessive disease. What do we think we might mean, Angelica, by it's a recessive disease? Say again? That's exactly right. It doesn't show if, what would you need to have, what would you need for it to show, Angelica? Let's say that I had the alleles big C for cystic fibrosis, big C and small c. What would somebody need to have cystic fibrosis? So cystic fibrosis if it's a recessive disease. Okay, so if we had big C, small c, okay, the cystic fibrosis only comes out if it's recessive. So can you see that the big C is the normal not having it? So if there was a big C, you don't have cystic fibrosis. What you actually need is small c, just like blue eyes. Blue eyes is a recessive condition. You only get blue eyes if you've got two small b's. Cystic fibrosis is a recessive disease. Can everyone just shut their screens for the moment? I just want to teach you this. So as soon as there's a big C, you haven't got cystic fibrosis because the big C is normal. Now, one of the ways they like coming at you is to ask you about this little guy, and this is a nightmare. Imagine being in the MPH and you're nervous, and they give you a diagram like this. Now, the beauty is we're going to learn this really well, and you're going to be able to answer this question really well, but it looks confusing. But I want you to give you the key here. A square is a male, and a circle is a female. Black shading, so number 6 and number 10 here, have cystic fibrosis. Now, Artie asked a really interesting question. He asked, how could scientists know if somebody is big B, or big B, small b, for example? How does somebody know whether somebody's big C, or big C, small c, if they haven't got the condition? Because would you accept number 1 and 2 both haven't got the condition? And Artie's point was a good one. Number 1 could be big C, Number 2 could be big C, big C. They haven't got the condition. Or they could be big C, small c, and still not have the condition. Can everyone see that? How can we possibly know whether they're big C, small c, or big C, big C? Are you putting your hand up?
No.
Right. So let's look at that diagram. Is there anything there that allows you to see why you can see which they are? Freddie, you're an intelligent young man. You're having a good day. Look at this diagram. I'll give you a clue. It's this half, because it's only number 1 and 2 we're talking about. What is it on this half of the diagram that you can point to say, number 1 and number 2, I can tell whether they're big B, big C, or big C, small c?
Black square.
Number 6. What an intelligent fellow he is. Now, can you tell me why that tells us? What do you think? What does that black square then tell us? Do you think these are big C's, or big C, small c? So we've got a black square there. What must that black square be?
2 small c's.
Brilliant. Where does that person get the 2 small c's from?
1 and 2.
Exactly. So what must 1 and 2 both have?
Big C and small c.
Brilliant. Well, they must have small c. Yeah. And if they must have, can you see that number 6 is getting its 2 small c's from number 1 and 2? So they both must have a small c. Emma, how do we know if they've both got a small c? How do we know that they're not small c then?
Because they've not got it.
Brilliant. If they were small c's, they would both have it. So they must be big C, small c. Freddie, you can have a merit. Brilliant. Friday afternoon, 5 p.m. That is a tricky question that comes up in GCSE all the time, and he's worked it out. Often they'll give you a question like that, and they'll say, what evidence is there to say that number 1 and 2 are heterozygous? They've had a child that has the condition, so they must both carry the recessive allele. Brilliant. So, Liam, they've had number 6 here who's got the condition. Does it only happen in males? Looking at this diagram, do you think it only happens in males?
No.
Sorry?
No,
Why not?
because you can see there's a female.
Good, that says number 10. Look at the way, I really like this diagram because this is actually what they do sometimes in exams. They might give you the numbers, so you just tell them the numbers. You know, like when I say describe, and then say what you see. When you say, instead of saying there is, like Freddie's answer, there is 1 that's black, you say number 6 has cystic fibrosis. Yeah. Is it only males? No, number 10 is a female. And you get the key. Okay? Is that my battery? Okay. So, here we have, so this is the kind of tree, and this is the type of question, okay, that you could get. Cystic fibrosis is caused by a recessive allele. Explain the evidence for this given in the diagram. And in fact, it's the other way, slightly the other way around from what Freddie was saying. 2 people without it have produced somebody with it. Okay? And you would say 1 and 2 produce number 6. Okay? Now, Liam, I don't quite understand this, maybe you could help me. Number 5 and 7 are both children of 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But they haven't got it.
Because they all have different, like, everyone has different things. I forgot what they call.
What's the 2 letters called? G.
Give me for colour the
Gene.
genotypes.
Excellent. They've all got different genotypes. And remembering our Punnett square, if this is big B, small c, can everyone look at this, Artie? The 2 small c's coming together produce small c, but you could have a big B and a big B coming together. Number 5 could be big C, big C. Number 7 could have been big C, small c or big C, big C? Would he? How do I know that number 7? Or how do I know what the genotype of number 7 is? What is it?
It's big C, small c,
Why?
because it's not a, what do we call the black one? It's not a,
So what's the black one? The black one means it's got cystic fibrosis.
right,
Okay. So what must the genotype of number 10 be?
oh, that must be, oh, my mind's gone blank, so,
Okay. We're using big C and small c.
yeah,
Okay. What must the genotype of number 10 be if it's got cystic fibrosis?
big C, big C.
Okay. So no, remember, big C means it hasn't got
Oh, fine, small c, small c.
small c. So where could number 10 have got
What's C standing for?
cystic fibrosis? Cystic cystic begins with a C. With a cystic fibrosis.
Oh, okay.
So where's number 10 got its small c's from then?
Number 7, number 8.
Brilliant. And so 7 must have a small c, and therefore but because it hasn't got the condition, it must have a big C as well.
Right.
Okay. Tell me what the genotype of Artie, tell me what the genotype of number 9 is, please, if you can. If you don't think you can, tell me. And when I say I don't think you can, it's not that you don't know. I want you to tell me. Can you tell me definitely? If you can't tell me definitely, tell me what it could be.
Big C, small c.
Why do you say it could be big C, small c?
Because
How do you know there must be a big C in number 9? What's the only way? What would it look like if there were no big C's? What must if
black.
Good. So as soon as it's white, it's got a big C, isn't it? So that must be big C something. You said big C, small c. You're right, it could be that. Could it be anything else?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
What could it be?
Big C, big C.
Well done, Liam. You could have merit. I'm really impressed, guys, with the way that you're operating here on a Friday afternoon. Did I say Wednesday afternoon today? I think I did. Look at this, guys. There's no evidence. We haven't had any children from number 9. So number 9 may never produce a cystic fibrosis child. If number 9 is big C, it comes back to our question that we did in our thing. Even if number 9 mated with somebody with cystic fibrosis, that's just like the 100% heterozygous that we're talking about. In 0% would have cystic fibrosis, but they'd all be carriers. Now, if you have the cystic fibrosis allele, but you don't have it, you're called a carrier. So number 1 and 2 are definitely carriers. Okay. Number 3 and 4, do you think they're heterozygous, Emma?
Yeah,
Why?
because 8 has to be.
Are you sure?
No.
8 does have to be. But one of them could be homozygous. One of them has to be heterozygous. Okay? We don't know. They could both be heterozygous, and they haven't had another. They might have another child that's got cystic fibrosis. You know, because remember it's a 3-to-1 ratio. But from this information, we can't know exactly what the story is. Okay, we haven't been given enough information. Okay, so are you ready for this? These are the questions. This is a proper question. So everyone, look at that. I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. Couples 7 and 8 decide to have another child. 7 and 8 decide to have another child. There they are. What phenotype do we think they are, Sam? Sorry, what genotype do we think they are? 7 and 8?
So small c, small c.
Okay, 7 and 8. What? 7 and 8. What do you see on there if it's small c, small c?
Like that, it would be black.
Good. Are 7 and 8 black?
Oh no, I meant number 10.
Right. Okay. So what genotype do we think 7 and 8 are?
Big C, small c.
Good. They're both heterozygous because they both got to contribute small c to number 10. And the question is, 7 and 8 decide to have another child. what is the probability that this child be with a girl with cystic fibrosis? Complete the genetic diagram to explain your answer. Use the symbols N and N so they're not using C, they're using. So can everyone please jump out a piece of paper? Freddie, can you get a bit of paper from over there? Okay. And you need to use this, you need to make a Punnett square. Phenotype, when it says unaffected, the parent 7 and 8 both don't have cystic fibrosis. They want you to fill in, so you need to make a Punnett square and look at the, what did we say the genotypes were, Emma, for 7 and 8?
Big C.
Good. So we're doing a Punnett square for big N, small n, big N, small n. I'm super impressed, guys, with everyone so far. Is there no paper?
There's no plain paper.
Hang on. Oh, here we go, here's some graph over here. Liam, could you just hand that please? So, we need to make a Punnett square. We make 2 lines like this. We separate. They've actually done it for you. So, where it says parental genotypes, Angelica, it says it's actually giving you the ability of breaking it down into small bits. What are the parental genotypes of 7 and 8? Good. So in these lines, guys, number 7, big C, small c, and 8, big C. Genotypes of gametes. So what could the 2 gametes could it produce? Big C, small c, we just separate them, don't we? Because they're the gametes. So it's big C or small c. Okay, you gonna go, Sam?
Yeah. So we do the little table.
The Punnett square, yeah. So line down, open. Look at your previous notes if you need to see how it's done. Artie, let's do a Punnett square for big C, sorry, big C, small c. I do apologise. Big N, small n, big N, small n, because they've asked you in the question. Big N, small n, big N, small n. And they're asking have you done it, Emma?
It's like it's 25%, isn't it?
It's not 25% because you've missed something in the question.
Is it big and small and big and small?
Big N small n times big N small n, yeah. Can everyone just check they've got the answer 25%? Because you're right.
I got 25.
25%? Yep.
Yep.
Good. 25%, Emma, you've got 25%? Are you sure? Do you understand? Yeah? Now, I need somebody so devilishly clever and sly that they're able to look at that question again and tell me why 25% is actually not the answer they asked for.
Girls.
Oh, Liam, you're on fire. I've already given you a merit, haven't I? They have asked for a girl. We've only worked out what the probability that child has cystic fibrosis. If you want it to be a girl as well, what do we need to do to that probability?
Divide that by 2. Like how I thought.
That's right. What we're going to do is it's a 50-50 chance. So it's, what's the probability? It's 0.25 times 0.5.
So So that's then 0.125.
Mm-hmm. Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
They've sneakily put in,
That's a pretty mean question.
they want to know it's a girl. Could be a boy, could be a girl. So the chances, because the chances of a boy and a girl are equal, they've got to add up to 0.25. Okay? That's as sneaky as it gets, actually, to add an extra probability in. And you need to know that if it's a cystic fibrosis and a girl, you multiply. Do you know your probabilities at GCSE? If it's and, you multiply. What's the chance of getting a 6 and a 3 in a row? A 6 times 6. Okay. Look at this. Question 2 here. A woman comes from a family tree, a family with a history of sex. Actually, don't worry about that. No, it's sex linked. It sounded like I was having to stop the question because it was getting too rude. So no, sex linked is a well-known genetic. Oh, here we go. Oh, look at this. Oh no, I don't want it.
Oh, you're sleeping now.
I don't want. Right. No, sex linked is A-level, okay? Which means it actually tends to come with whichever sex you are, okay? Right. So what I'd like us to do is the following. I'd like us to. I'm going to screenshot this. Okay, so if we go to our slides, okay, I'm going to make a new slide. Now, can I just check everyone's on this now? Can you open it up and so I can see? Right. A genetic family tree. Working out genotypes. And then I'm going to insert, I'm really hoping we can insert an image here, which is that one. Oh, legendar. Okay. Has everyone got that appeared in there, yeah? Right. So I'm going to just write the following. So here we have a family tree showing 1 and 2 having children. Cystic fibrosis is a recessive disease, meaning, like blue eyes, you need 2 recessive alleles present for it to be, I'm going to use the correct terminology, expressed in the what? Emma? Expressed in the, what do we call it, what we see? Phenotype. Can you see the way I'm littering my sentences now like confetti at a wedding with these words? And this is what we need to do. I have to say, guys, you're doing an amazing job in understanding the nuts and bolts of these genetic things. It's really good. But actually, you're only truly going to get really good marks if you understand the terminology. Okay? So, I'm going to put a new slide in, and we are going to answers to questions. And I'm going to insert an image again. So we know that both number 1 and number 2 must be big C, small c. Hetero, what? Heterozygous, good. Because they have a child with small c, number 6, that has cystic fibrosis. For number 6 to have small c, both parents must have contributed a small c allele. But since neither have the disease, both white shapes, they must have the dominant big C allele present. Okay. This means that the parents of number 10 must both be heterozygous big C, small c. And lastly, if we have a normal person, sounds a bit weird, but sorry. If we have a normal person that hasn't yet had children, we cannot tell if it is, or if they are big C or big C, small c. New slide. Doing the Punnett square question, and insert image. Okay, so let me get a cystic fibrosis heterozygous cross images. Okay. Just see if we've got any with the phenotypes written in. Okay, can we see that? So this is big C equals normal, small c equals cystic fibrosis. There's our Punnett square. We've got one big C. This is the probability, because remember it's a sperm and an egg. Both parents might donate a big C in their sperm or might donate a small c. We've got one big C. We've got two lots of big C, small c's. And then we've got one lot of small c. Okay? Okay. plus the gender addition. So I'm just going to actually make this a bit smaller. Let's see if I can get. Note, in this question, they want a girl with CC, so we need to multiply the 0.25 probability by 0.5 the chances of a girl, which equals 0.125, yep, equals 12.5%. How does that sound? Yeah? Now, one thing that's really interesting here is they really like to have a Punnett square that's interesting. You know the one I gave you in slide 11? What's the chance of having a blue-eyed child? 0. They often don't like that. So I can tell you that most of the time in questions they give you the heterozygous cross, that one, whatever it is. Red feathers in chickens and white feathers, blue eyes and brown eyes, cystic fibrosis, they give you the heterozygous cross. And that is, so if you're in your exam next year, and you look and you go, I have no idea what they're talking about, but I know it's a Punnett square, just do a heterozygous one. Because if you're going to leave it blank, you get 0. But if you do the heterozygous cross, and it is a heterozygous cross, you're going to get full marks. Okay? That is my advice. Okay. So I'm actually going to insert something here, I'm going to just put in cystic fibrosis, because this is actually a disease we need to know about. Now, I'm going to then introduce us to a new disease. Does anyone know what the other disease we need to know is? Wow. Polydactyly. Does anybody know what that is?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's like you don't have a finger or something.
You actually have an extra.
Oh yeah, that's one.
Yeah. Now, I need someone devilishly clever. Woody? This is a dominant allele disease. Bearing in mind what we said about cystic fibrosis being a recessive disease, allele disease, what do you think a dominant allele disease means in polydactyly?
What's the opposite of recessive? So.
Good. Do you know what the definition of dominant is?
Dominant is like in control, does it mean?
Yeah, that's in normal life. But what did we say it was? In terms of alleles.
Like,
Something is...
You said it's the thing that is more common.
No, not necessarily actually, because polydactyly is very uncommon. If it's there, it's expressed.
Right.
Big B for eye colour, brown. If there's a big B there, it's expressed. Okay?
This is a dominant allele or something you can see.
No, if it's there, it's expressed. So we needed to have 2 recessive alleles for cystic fibrosis. With polydactyly, you just need to have the dominant polydactyl allele and it will come out. Okay? It will be in there. You have an extra finger return. Okay? It's quite a rare condition. which is a bit counterintuitive for dominant, because you think dominant will be more popular, like brown eyes are more popular than blue. Okay? So if we go to it's very, very similar in its nature to what I had before. It's a family tree, and it's going to be polydactyly with parents, and if you're black, you've got it, and if you're white shaped, you haven't. So look, what can we say, Artie, about A and B? So we've got 1 and 2 now, we've got A and B. A and B, do they have polydactyly or not?
They do.
They do. So let's say that we had big P and small p. What can you tell me their genotypes aren't if it's a dominant allele disease? A and B both cannot be one genotype.
Small b, small b.
Good, small p, good. Can you see? If it's not there, it won't come out. As soon as it's there, it comes out. So A and B could be big P, small p, or big P, big P. Okay? Now, because it's a dominant allele disease, Angelica, you okay? Are you concentrating hard? Okay, good. Look how more common the offspring having it are once you have parents who've had it. Okay? So you've got C and D. What is the genotype, Sam, of number C, of letter C?
It's going to be BC.
We're using big P, small p.
Okay, so like big P, small p.
Say again?
Big P, small p.
Okay, it's a dominant allele disease. If the dominant allele is there, big P,
Yeah.
it shows that person has polydactyly. Does number C have polydactyly?
No.
So what must the
So it mustn't have a dominant P then.
good? So what 2 letters must it have?
Small p, small p.
Well done, excellent, Sam. Okay. Now, look at C and D who've had children. Can I just shut the screen for a minute and just go for me? Look at is it possible to work out the genotype of D? The likely genotype of D. Emma.
What? D.
D.
Big P, big B.
Really good. If we look, guys, can we look at this? Look what percentage of the children so far have got the disease? It's 100%, isn't it? So look, let's go the other way. We know that C, who is, let's say C is a male. So we know that the husband, for example, if they were married, is small c, okay, because he hasn't got polydactyly. I should put P. How to confuse a class? Just PCs, N's, Ma's. So small p is definitely the dad. Okay? Let's look at what happens if D was heterozygous, having big P, small p. We've got big P, small p, okay, which they've got it. Small p, they haven't got it. Big P, small p, they've got it. And small p, they haven't got it. So what's the probability of having a child with cystic with polydactyly in this example?
50%.
50%. How many children have they had?
4.
4. And how many have had it?
All of them.
All of them. So what you've actually done, it's like tossing a coin 4 times and not getting one tail. Is that likely? Well, that's possible. But look how, if we do, this is exactly now the same as our, when we're talking about Freddie and we're talking about a brown eyed person. If we go big P, we know that every single one of them is big P, small p, big P, small p, big P, small p, big P, small p. That is 100% certain. So on those figures, it's probably more likely that Emma's right. The chances are, if you've had 4 children and they've all got cystic, polydactyly, and one of the parents hasn't, you're probably pretty unlucky if you had a 50-50 chance and you got 4 in a row. Freddie, what's the way that you could, I'm going to put forward the theory, I think that D is homozygous dominant. How could you test whether I'm 100% right or not without doing the DNA? What could you do there? Look at no, you couldn't actually, because D could be either from A or B. Okay, you'd actually just have to say they'd have to have more children. The only way you could prove it is if they had so many children that it became almost statistically, if they had 10 children. I mean, you probably wouldn't do this with humans actually, you'd probably do this with mice. But, because of course you wouldn't mate 10 children just to see for genetic experiment. But if you had this as a mice, the way you find out is if you had, say, 10 children that they all had polydactyly, then you'd be pretty certain that actually, what's the chance of tossing a coin 10 times and not getting one tail? It's very, very unlikely. Okay.
Is it possible, but?
Yeah, utterly possible. Well, we know what it is. It's 0.5 times 0.5 times 0.5 times 0.5 times 0.5 times 0.5. What is 0.5 to the power of 10? It's going to be, can somebody quickly get a calculator and tell me? Or you could Google chances of throwing 10 heads in a row. It's probably going to be about like 150,000 to 1 or something.
It's 0.03125.
No!
Yeah.
What, 3%?
0.03125.
Yeah, that's 0.03 is 3%. But hang on. 10, what is it? What have you looked up?
0.5 times 0.5 times 0.5 times 0.8.
10 times?
Yes. 5 times.
No, we're doing 10 in a row.
I did 5 times.
I was going to say thank you. I was thinking, wow. So that's actually now going to...
Okay, yeah, it's 0.0009.
Okay, so can you do 1 over that? 1 divided by 0.00, is it 3 zeros?
3 zeros, yeah.
Yeah, so that's...
So 1 divided by 0.000. 1 is like, this is like 1,111.1111.
1,000, is it not 100,000? Anyway, let's see if we can get probability of throwing 10 heads in a row. It's got to still give me a number, isn't it? 1,024. Yeah. So it's 1 in 1,000 that you would get 10 children in a row with polydactyly if it was 50-50. Okay. Now what they can do is they can actually ask you what a parent's options would be. So if we go back to this, if it was heterozygous, we saw the chances were 50-50, weren't they? So imagine if you went to, somebody went up to a doctor and said, listen, my wife doesn't have polydactyly, so she's definitely small p. I do. What are the chances of me having a child that has polydactyly? The doctor would say, if you're heterozygous, it's 50-50. I'm sorry, but if you're homozygous, you're definitely going to have a child with polydactyly. Okay. Right. guys, on that note, I think you have done brilliantly today. I would like to highlight Freddie and Liam for those two brilliant answers. But I'm actually going to give you all a merit. Because I think on doing genetics on a Friday afternoon is not the easiest gig. And I think you've really stayed with it well. And the way that you've answered questions, which actually, if you don't understand what's going on, you're nowhere, are you? But in general terms, people have been using terms like small c, big C, small c, big P. That's hard anyway. I'm really impressed, guys. So, next lesson, I'm going to give you your exam marks back. And now on Monday morning, you're going to get your grades. Okay? You won't get your mark, I don't think. You'll get your grade. And then when I see you, well, actually, what I might do is I'll send you your mark. Am I seeing you Monday? Or is it Wednesday? Of course you do. Of course you do. Well, I'm going to send you your marks then. No, after you've got your grade. Okay?
We got a grade?
Monday morning, isn't it? Is that during registration? Okay.
Why our tutors?